Welcome to coding.com. Today we will learn how to do code splitting in React. You might have seen that in our React project, whenever it is built, there are only two main packages built. There is one for the libraries and one more for our custom code. So whenever our custom code grows in size and we add more and more libraries to our application, our app will grow exponentially and the bundle size will also grow with that. If you have really good internet connection, then you might not feel that downloading few extra KBs of data is a problem for you. But if your user is sitting in a remote place, loading your application in a mobile device, then it might take a couple of minutes for your page to load in his device. So you don't want your customers to have a bad experience and end up losing them. There are two popular ways using which you can achieve code splitting in React. One is using React.lazy, which makes use of the Suspense feature released in React recently, and one more is Loadable Components. Loadable Components is another library which we will be making use of to achieve code splitting. So without wasting further time, let us start with our application. Open your favorite terminal and run npx create react app code splitting. We will come back once the installation completes. Once the installation completes, navigate to code splitting directory and open the code in your favorite code editor. Let's go ahead and delete the files which are not required. Let's select app.css, app.test.css, logo, and these two files and delete them. And let's delete the references of them too. Let's create a new component home.js inside the source directory. This will be a functional component, and let's add a useState hook here and name it as show details. And let's import useState. So what we'll be doing here is we'll have a button. Whenever we click the button, we will toggle that show details to true. So let's add that button. Let's bind the onClick handler to set show details to true and add a text of show dog image. So basically what we will be doing is whenever we click on the button, we will be loading the dog image from the internet and showing it to the user. Let us create another component, dog image component, where we will load the dog image from the internet and show it. So I'm using this RAFC shortcut to create the functional component. You can also have it using this ES7 React Code Snippet plugin. In this component, let us have another useState hook where we will store the image URL we downloaded from the internet and will not initialize it with anything, and let's import it. So let us write a useEffect hook where we will fetch the dog image URL. We will not have any cleanup scripts and we will not have any dependencies. So this code will be executed only when the component is mounted. So before writing our effect, there is a nice little site dog.ceo where you can fetch random dog's image. So let's go to dog API and see what we have here. So there is a API URL which will give you the dog image URL. So let's copy this and let's call fetch function with this URL, and in the success handler you will get the response, and let's convert this response to JSON format. So this again response.json will be an async call, so we'll return this and we can chain another then block here with data which will have response in this format. We are not interested in status, we are interested in this message which will have the dog image URL. So once we get the data, we'll set the image URL to data.message. So we have an error here because we haven't imported useEffect. Let's do that. Now we have this image URL set. Let's display it. Let's use the standard image tag with a source of image URL and an alt of random dog. So let's add a width to it. Say 300 pixels. So whenever the component is loaded for the first time, this image URL will be null. So let's check if image URL exists, then only we will show this image. Now we have this dog image component. Let us include it in our home component. So if show details is set to true, then we will show dog image component, and let's import it. Eventually, let us include this home component in our app component. Let's clean up this and import it. We forgot to remove the logo import. Let's remove that as well. Now let us start our application and see if it works fine. So now we have an error in app.js. Let's remove this app.css import as well. Now we have our application running successfully. Let's see how functionality works fine or not. Just click on show dog image, and yeah, we have random dog image loaded. Now let's add some basic styling and bring this content to the center of the screen. Go to index.css and remove all these styles. Let's add a margin of 1 rem auto so the contents come in the center of the screen, and let's add a max width of 900 pixels. Now we have this coming in the center of the screen. Let's keep a gap between this button and the image. Let's navigate to home.js and add a style to this button of margin bottom of 1 rem. So if you look here, the dog image component is required only when the user clicks on this show dog image button. So what we can do here is we can easily load this dog image component whenever user clicks on show dog image button. So we will be making use of React Suspense to achieve this. So before going into the implementation details, let us see what Suspense is. So according to the React documentation, Suspense lets your components wait for something before they can render. So if you see the example here, this profile timeline component is wrapped by this suspense component. Suspense accepts fallback prop, which can be a React component or a JSX element, which is used to indicate this particular component is being loaded. So let's head back to our code editor and create a loading component. This will be a simple component with the text of loading, and we'll go to home component and wrap our dog image component with suspense. Let's add the fallback prop as loading component. So if you inspect the application now and see, you don't see any components getting loaded, only the dog API is being called and the dog image is being loaded. This is because we are statically importing this dog image component. To support code splitting, we will have to import this dog image dynamically. So let's go ahead and do it. So we have this React.lazy function which we can make use of to do dynamic imports in React. So this will require a callback function where we will be doing dynamic import of dog image. So let's assign that to dog image constant, and your application would have already been reloaded. And now if I click on show dog image, you will see that 1.chunk.js is being loaded. That is nothing but the dog image component. To verify that, you can click on this and see the response payload, and you will see the dog image.js here. So if you are not able to see that loading indicator, you can switch to a maybe regular 2G network and click on show dog image. You will see that loading symbol for a longer period of time. Let's further make sure that we have achieved code splitting by analyzing the bundles generated. We have a handy tool called webpack-bundle-analyzer which we can make use of to analyze the bundles created. So let's go ahead and install this. Let's create an additional terminal here and run npm install saved webpack-bundle-analyzer. So we'll be saving this as a development dependency, so this will not add up to our bundle size. Once the installation completes, let us create a file called analyze.js and add this set of codes. You will find a link in the description below for this, so that you can copy paste the code. If you want to go ahead and type, you can type it. This is a standard code for analyzing bundle size in React, so you can reuse this code snippet in your other projects as well. Now head back to terminal and run node analyze.js. So wait for this to complete. Once this completes, it will open a new browser tab and it will show you the bundle sizes. Now a browser tab would have opened. Move your mouse to the left side of the screen, so you will see all the packages here. Let us uncheck this. This is the React DOM package, and once you uncheck it, you will see this dog image component clearly, which is loaded in a separate bundle. This is your main package, which will have your index.js and other components. So now we have made sure that the code splitting is achieved. Now let's see what happens if the user loses his internet connection. So I've opened the app in Chrome because in Firefox the offline feature doesn't work as expected. So let's change the network settings to offline and let's go to the console and clear all those things and click on show dog image. You will see the page going blank and you will see some error message here. So if you scroll and see, we are suggesting us to add a error boundary here. So consider adding an error boundary to your tree to customize error handling behavior. This happened because we are offline and it failed to load the dog image component, and we haven't specified anything to React on what to do when an error happens. So the error message also gives a link to the documentation. So let's open that and see what are error boundaries. So if you see here, it says if there is a JavaScript error, that shouldn't break the whole UI. So to handle this, they have introduced error boundaries in React 16 and they have given a code snippet as well, which is the minimalistic code required to handle error boundaries. So for the time being, we will just copy this code and create a error boundary component. Let us create the error boundary component inside the source directory and we'll have to import React. So let's export this as well. As you can see, this is a class-based component. So this has a local state which has this has error flag which is set to false initially. So whenever an error happens, this getDerived state from error will be called and we'll be setting this has error to true. Also, this component did-catch will be called and you can call your own error logging service. We'll not be doing that in this tutorial, so let's remove that. And so whenever this has error is set to true, we will be showing this error message, something went wrong. So how we can make use of this error boundary? What we do is we enclose any component which may fail to load. So in our case, it is whatever is inside the suspense block. So let us enclose that with the error boundary. Let's import this error boundary as well. So let's go ahead and first switch back to online mode and load the button. And let's go back to offline mode and click on show dog image. So this time it will show this something went wrong text. So basically the purpose of error boundaries is to indicate the user that something is not right. You can give try again button or something. So the user will know something has happened rather than staring into a blank screen. Now let's see another approach of code splitting using loadable components. Similar to dog image component, let's create another component that is cat image component. Let's copy paste the code from dog image and modify it. Let's change this to cat. This is the API to fetch the random cat image URL. So if you open that image, you'll see the cat image loaded. So let's copy it and replace the URL here. And if you see here, the data we are interested will be in file field. So let us change this from message to file. Before including this cat image component in any of the components, let us create a route/cat and have it inside that route. You might be aware that in order to make use of routing in React, you'll have to make use of any routing library. So here we'll be making use of React router down. So let's go ahead and install it. I'll be running npm install React router down @next as well as history. So we'll be installing the next version of the React router down, which is React router 6 beta version. I have written a blog post about React router down 6 and how we can use it. I will be giving a link to the description below. So the installation has completed. We'll be making use of history library to store the browser history and navigate between the routes. Now let's go ahead and wrap our app component inside the browser router that we can import from React router down, which we just installed. And in the app component, let us add a couple of links inside a list. React router down has a link component which we can make use of to display anchor links. The target will be giving in a to component. So let's have a path to home where we will be displaying dog images and a link to /cat where we will be displaying cat images. Now we have the links. Let us add some routes. So we'll wrap all the routes inside the routes component, which is again exported from React router down, and inside that we will declare individual routes. Again, this route component is exported from React router down. So this will accept a prop of path, which will be / and we'll be specifying the element. You can specify which component needs to be rendered when that particular path is hit. I'll just copy paste this and replace it with cat and the component with cat image. Now let us add some styling for this list elements so that it looks nice. Let us head over to index.css and add some styles. I will first make list type as none and display flex and a padding left of 0, and for the li also I'll make a padding right of 1 run. Now if you run the application and see, you'll see 2 show dog image buttons. That is because we forgot to remove this home component from here. So if you remove and reload, you'll see only 1 button, and if you go to cat image component, the cat image will be loaded. Now let's make this cat component to load dynamically. Now let's go ahead and install loadable components @loadable/component. Once the installation completes, let's import the loadable component to our app.js. Import loadable from @loadable/component. The syntax to use loadable components is similar to that of React.lazy. So let us import our cat image component dynamically. Yeah, like you have seen, it will accept a callback function. You're seeing this error because we have duplicate imports here. So let's remove this This loadable function accepts a second parameter which is optional, where you can give fallback component. So let's give our loading component. Now if you reload the page and click on cat image, you will see the code being loaded first, then the API is being called, then the image is being downloaded. If you switch to a slower network and click on cat image, you will see the loading being displayed for a short time. Similar to what we have done before, we can analyze the bundle using analyze.js. Once the analysis is completed, you can uncheck this bigger bundle and see your dog image and cat image components bundled to different files. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, please do comment them below. You'll see a link to complete code and demo in the description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.